By retirement, many Americans are spending thousands of dollars every year on things they barely use. And the most expensive one may be sitting in your driveway, parked in a spare bedroom, or collecting dust in your attic. For 40 years, your financial life was a game of addition. You added a mortgage, more square footage, a second car, furniture, hobbies, and possessions for the family. We were taught that wealth meant owning more, but retirement changes the math. Your paycheck may shrink or stop, while every possession still sends you an invisible bill. Insurance, maintenance, storage, taxes, cleaning, and your time. I'm Helen. I've watched many people enter retirement with more things and less freedom. Today, we'll look at 5 things you may want to sell before retirement, what each one really costs to keep, and when selling may not be the right decision. Stay with me, because number 1 is the item families often keep for their children, even when the children never asked for it. Number 5 is the second car. For most of your working life, 2 cars were practical. One person drove to work, the other ran errands, and the family schedule demanded flexibility. But once the commute disappears, the second car can quietly become one of the most expensive, unused objects in the household. The real cost is not just the monthly payment. It can include insurance, registration, repairs, tires, fuel, and depreciation. Depending on the vehicle and where you live, the total can reach several $1,000s a year, and much more if there is still a loan. Here is a simple way to test the decision. Park the second car for 90 days. Take the keys off your key ring. Track every rideshare, taxi, rental, or extra trip you pay for. At the end of the test, compare that amount with the full annual cost of owning the vehicle. Some couples discover that one car works perfectly. Others learn that they truly need 2. Either result is useful. The goal is not to follow a rule. The goal is to stop paying for a habit you no longer need. There is one important exception. If you live in a rural area, regularly care for a family member, or have medical needs that make transportation uncertain, selling the second car may reduce your flexibility. In that case, consider a cheaper, reliable vehicle instead of eliminating it completely. Number 4 is the recreational toy you rarely use. Maybe it is a boat, a motorhome, a jet ski, a motorcycle, or a timeshare. During your working years, these purchases represent a dream: open roads, quiet lakes, and long weekends with the family. The dream is real, but so are winterizing, storage, repairs, specialized insurance, registration, marina fees, and towing. A large recreational asset can lose value while demanding more attention every year. Ask yourself one uncomfortable question. If you did not already own it, would you buy it today with cash and genuine excitement? If the answer is no, the object may be costing you more freedom than it provides. You can also rent the experience. Rent a boat for a week instead of maintaining one for 12 months. Rent an RV for a specific trip instead of paying for storage all year. Renting lets you keep the memory while transferring the maintenance to someone else. Do not sell a toy simply because another person thinks it is irresponsible. If you use it often, can afford it comfortably, and it brings your family real joy, keeping it may be completely reasonable. The problem is not enjoyment. The problem is paying for an expensive fantasy you no longer live. Number 3 is the rental property that became your second job. Rental real estate is often described as passive income, but a rental house can produce phone calls, vacancies, insurance claims, plumbing emergencies, roof replacements, and complicated tax paperwork. In your 50s, fixing a leaking toilet on a Saturday may be an annoyance. In your late 60s, a furnace failure in January can become a serious disruption to your health, travel, and peace of mind. If you are the person every tenant calls, you may have retired from your career but become a full-time property manager. Selling may make sense if the property requires constant work. the return is disappointing after all expenses, or you no longer want the responsibility. But do not look only at the sale price. Review the mortgage, capital gains tax, depreciation recapture, selling costs, and the income you would give up. Some owners can solve the problem by hiring a professional property manager. Others may prefer to keep the property because it produces reliable income or has strong family value. The right question is not, is real estate good? It is this particular property still serving the retirement life I want? So far, we have talked about cars, toys, and property. You may be feeling defensive. You worked hard for these things. Selling them can feel like shrinking your life. But selling an asset is not automatically losing. It can be a trade. A physical object or obligation becomes cash, simplicity, and flexibility. At 50, flexibility is convenient. At 70, flexibility can be priceless. Number 2 is empty square footage. For many Americans, the family home is both their largest asset and their deepest emotional anchor. That is exactly why this decision is difficult. Walk through your home on an ordinary Tuesday. Where do you actually spend your time? Most people use the kitchen, living room, bedroom, and perhaps one office. The other rooms still require heating, cooling, insurance, repairs, cleaning, and property taxes. Maintenance is also easy to underestimate. A common planning rule is that annual upkeep may average around 1 to 2% of a home's value, though the real number varies widely by age, location, and condition. On a $600,000 home, even the lower end represents a meaningful annual expense. Downsizing can release home equity and reduce monthly bills, but it has costs too. Moving expenses, commissions, repairs, taxes, and the emotional cost of leaving a familiar place. It may also affect your access to family, doctors, or community support. Do not wait until a health crisis forces the decision. Explore your options while you still have the energy to sort, move, and choose a home that fits your next chapter. Selling the oversized house is not a command. It is an option worth examining early. And now, number 1, legacy collections. This includes formal dining furniture, china, silver, antique cabinets, collectibles, old tools, and boxes stored in the attic. Many families keep these possessions because they believe they are preserving a legacy for their children. But many adult children live in smaller homes or apartments. They may prefer practical furniture, digital photographs, and objects that fit their current lives. They may love you deeply without wanting an entire dining room set or a collection of dishes that cannot go in a dishwasher. That does not mean your memories have no value. It means the memory and the object are not the same thing. This weekend, ask your children a direct but gentle question. I'm beginning to clear out the house. Which 1 or 2 items would you genuinely like to keep? Give them time to answer without pressure. Set aside the meaningful pieces they choose. Then consider selling, donating, or giving away the rest while you are still able to make the decisions yourself. You may receive less money than you expected. That is normal. The value may be in avoiding a rushed estate sale later, reducing clutter now, and sparing your family from sorting everything during grief. There is one exception here, too. If an item has genuine market value, obtain an appraisal before selling it. A qualified estate professional can help with valuable art, jewelry, antiques, and collectibles. Never assume an online estimate is accurate. Let's bring this together. During your working life, success often meant accumulation. Quiet wealth after 50 can mean something different. Owning fewer things that demand your time, money, and attention. The second car, the recreational toy, the rental property, the oversized home, and the legacy collection are not automatically bad. They become problems when they no longer match the life they were purchased to support. Here is your practical homework. Choose 1 item, not 5. Run the 90-day car test. Request a rental property income and expense statement. Price the storage and insurance on the boat. Walk through the rooms you rarely use. Or ask your children which possessions they truly want. You do not have to make every decision this week. You only need to replace assumptions with facts. Which of these 5 would be hardest for you to sell, and why? Tell me in the comments. Your answer may help someone else think through a decision they have been avoiding. If this helped you look at retirement with a little more clarity and a little less pressure, subscribe to Quiet Wealth After 50. I'm Helen, and I'll see you in the next video.